Republican senators are pushing back against one of the leading voices in their own party for controversial comments he made about the war in Ukraine. Yesterday, a handful of GOP lawmakers broke with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who on Monday dismissed Russia's invasion as a, quote, territorial dispute and said defending Ukraine was not a vital interest of the United States.
It's not a territorial dispute in the sense that any more than it would be a territorial dispute if the United States decided that it wanted to invade Canada or take over the Bahamas. Just because someone claims something doesn't mean it belongs to them. This is an invasion.
I just think that's a misunderstanding of the situation. This is not a territorial conflict. This is a war of aggression. I think Governor of Florida has been a great governor, but in my opinion, if you don't get Ukraine right, this is a chance to stop Putin before it gets to be a bigger war.
I would not agree with him on that. I think it's pretty clear, historically speaking, the importance of keeping Vladimir Putin in his lane.
Most certainly it is of concern to me. We've got a number of individuals who are looking, I think, at the 2024 race, and we'll find out whether or not the rest of them feel the same way.
Senator Graham, who you just heard there, also had this to say: the Neville Chamberlain approach to aggression never ends well, comparing DeSantis to the British Prime Minister who appeased Adolf Hitler. This is an attempt by Putin to rewrite the map of Europe by force of arms. Meanwhile, Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas tells Politico, I am disturbed by it. I think he's a smart guy. I want to find out more about it, but I hope he feels like he doesn't need to take that Tucker Carlson line to be competitive in the primary. It's important for us to continue to support Ukrainians for our own security. And John Hellman, a number of different things here. But,
yes, indeed.
So many different places to go here. But let's start with Ron DeSantis, who sounds so Trumpy.
Well, yeah, first of all, let's start with this. Governor DeSantis, welcome to the NFL. The United States Senate filled with people who have either run for president, like Lindsey Graham, or think they could be or should be president, like almost everybody else in the United States Senate, all of them welcoming the what they see as the provincial semi-hick governor from Florida to what they think of as their province, and sort of saying, hey, you might want to like read a couple foreign policy, at least white papers and some history before you start talking in the context of international security. So there's a little bit of that, first of all. Second of all, like, it's hilarious to see people, Lindsey Graham says this is the Neville Chamberlain approach. Somebody else, one of the other senators there, I think Cornyn maybe said, I hope he doesn't take the Tucker Carlson line. You'll note none of them are saying what is also true. I hope he doesn't take the Donald Trump line, because that is really kind of what all this is about, is Ron DeSantis. I don't want to say the words right flank, because those words don't mean anything anymore in the Republican Party, but let's say the MAGA flank. Ron DeSantis wanting to make sure that if he's going to be the guy who's going to be one-on-one with Donald Trump, that on issues like this, there's no daylight between him and Trump on issues that resonate with the MAGA part of the base. Donald Trump would probably say essentially the same thing, maybe in slightly different terms, different words, that Ron DeSantis would say about Ukraine, because that is where a lot of the MAGA base is. Skeptical about U.S. involvement in this dispute, about spending money on this dispute, and so you have Ron DeSantis trying to make sure there's no daylight between him and Trump. The problem is that a lot of the United States senators here are willing to criticize DeSantis or anybody else, certainly willing to criticize Tucker Carlson, anybody, but they won't make their obvious point, which is that this is all about Ron DeSantis trying to kind of test it, get him to kind of wade into the foreign policy waters. Doesn't necessarily know those waters very well, but the one thing he knows is he doesn't want to let there be any way for for Donald Trump to say Ron DeSantis is a globalist, Ron DeSantis is with Joe Biden, Ron DeSantis is on the side of NATO and the Europeans, and so he's trying to find his way, and so far he's discovering that the waters that he doesn't know very well are quite choppy.
I mean, I'm just curious, Hellman. I mean, is he just a dum-dum and he's imitating Trump because he thinks that's no, I'm serious, though, because, like, do you think MAGA Republicans out there, going to Trump rallies are sitting there going, I'm really thinking about Putin and I want him to cozy up to Putin, just like my friend Donald Trump did. That's a good call. Like, is that Is that in the mainstream MAGA thinking? Because it seems to me whatever Trump says at his rallies, for whoever is still showing up, no matter what he says, even if it's something disgusting or about hurting somebody, they all clap.
Right.
But do they, really, I guess my question is, why so Trumpy, Ron DeSantis? Why do you need to do this?
Well, I think there are two things to say there, Mika. One is that there is a large isolationist streak in the Republican Party. And Donald Trump has always been aligned with that streak. They don't see it as cozying up to Putin. They say it as keeping America out of foreign entanglements that it has no business being in. And Trump, that's not the wing of the party that has been the dominant wing of the party for the last 40 years prior to Trump. It's not the wing that Lindsey Graham or John Cornyn or Mitch McConnell represent, but it is the part that Donald Trump captured on his way to the White House and still has a hold on. And so DeSantis, understands that it's going to be impossible to be the Republican nominee without at least having the acceptance, if not the full embrace, of the MAGA part of the party. They're not sitting there thinking, hey, cozying up to Putin, but they are saying the polling data is increasingly clear. And this is not just about the MAGA part of the party, but across the board. Americans are, Republicans in particular, but Americans and some Democrats are increasingly skeptical about the amount of money that's being spent in Ukraine, about America's involvement there. And there's going to be a very interesting debate in the Republican Party. Ron DeSantis is trying to find his way. But these other candidates, the Nikki Haley's and Mike Pompeo's and others who are either in the race or about to get in the race, who are more kind of traditional Republicans, more maybe neoconish in their orientation, they're going to find out, they're going to have to test their views out there if they say they are with Lindsey Graham and they think that, they have to stand foursquare with Volodymyr Zelensky. They're going to see how popular that turns out to be in the Republican primary. It might not be a tenable position to be all the way where Lindsey Graham is right now, where Joe Biden is on this issue.
We should note how warmly received these comments surely are in Moscow for Putin.
Yes,
he now looks at two top Republicans, the top two Republican candidates for president, both saying, hey, we should be less involved in that war. If you're Putin, maybe you bet you can hang on to November 2024. Get a Republican in the White House who won't be nearly as eager to help Zelensky and Kyiv. But the